What the actual fuck? How has it been 1 year? Genuinely, where has that year gone? I remember so clearly when this whole idea came to life, when all of this podcast came into fruition. All the stuff which I'm doing today is because of all the stuff that I've been through. And the behind the scenes for that episode was actually really, really funny. I think that's on my Instagram somewhere. The fact I even managed to do what I did. Yes, it wasn't necessarily the best quality. Yes, the sound was shit. Yes, it would have been better if I had a professional doing it. For me, this is all part of the journey. And one of the biggest messages that I always want to get across to people is never wait until it's perfect to start, because it's never going to be perfect. Within the title, obviously, you guess that it's going to be, your real life conversations, real experiences, real honest truth. And these normal people don't get that opportunity and they don't have a platform to share their story. I want to make this such a thing that the people that I get on this podcast are those people. I want this to just be like real, Real Talk with Nat. That's what this has to be about. And that was exactly the aim of when I created it. And yeah, there's just so many incredible people that I've had on here. I've interviewed my cousin, I've interviewed my brother. This really, really is just the beginning of Real Talk with Nat. There's just so much more to come. Also, watch this space because I've just signed a partnership deal. It's exciting for what that thing is as well. So grateful for all of you who listen, who watch, who have subscribed, who comment, who share, and I will see you guys soon. Lots of love. Hey everyone, welcome to a very special episode of Real Talk with Nat. So solo episode for you today, coming to you live from my office/gym. We're actually going through a house renovation. Renovation actually is a little bit extreme. It's not that extreme. We're just redecorating, moving some stuff around, moving some rooms around. So stuff is all over the house at the moment. And actually, recording this episode is a really good way of me stopping what I'm supposed to actually be doing, which is organising all of my clothes and moving stuff around, which I have been doing for the last couple of hours, to be fair. But I thought, right, I'm feeling inspired to record this episode, so I'm going to get it done for you guys right now. So today is actually, the day of recording is the 13th of October, 2025. And tomorrow, the 14th of October, is the official 1 year anniversary of Real Talk with Nat, which is mental. Like, what the actual fuck? How has it been 1 year? Like, genuinely, I know like everyone always says that, like, oh my God, how quickly time's gone, but genuinely, where has that year gone? Like, I remember so clearly when this whole idea came to life, when all of this podcast came into fruition, and the fact that that was actually over a year ago. That was September 2024, when I had my light bulb moment, laying on the beach in Marbella, got everything set up literally within a matter of hours. That was over a year ago. And I recorded my first ever episode on the 14th of October 2024. And I can't believe that we're here. Like, honestly, it just blows my mind. And I just wanted to record an episode for you guys today, just to kind of go through what's been going on over this last year. Have a look back at some of the episodes. I've got my laptop here so I can see all the episodes in the order that we've done, talk a little bit about some of the guests, and just, have a bit of a reminisce. There's absolutely no strategy to this episode whatsoever, which is me all over. Those of you who know me, when it comes to business, strategy is not really something that I rock and roll with. I'm very much acting on inspiration and doing things when they feel right. Obviously, elements of strategy fall into place as and when they need to in the bigger picture. But when it comes to things like this, where I want to just be creative and just talk to you guys and just deliver certain messages, there's never really any planning. We go with it and we see what happens. So the first episode, let's take it back. So the first episode which I recorded was my solo episode, which was getting to know me. So that's the first ever episode on my podcast. And that episode for me was, again, similar to this episode that I'm recording today. Didn't really have much of a plan with it at all. I just wanted to take you guys through my story. And I actually think if you haven't watched that or listened to that episode, I really, really would love you to go back and do that, because it will just give you a better understanding of why I've ended up here today, like why I've ended up doing what I'm doing in terms of all of my mindset coaching and wellness business and, you know, just all the stuff which I'm doing today, including this podcast, is because of all the stuff that I've been through in my life. And I've been through quite a lot of stuff which probably, like, well, if you don't know me personally and you haven't watched that episode, you would have no idea. Why would you, right? So I just think it's nice to kind of, if you're following somebody or you're following my podcast or whatever it is, you've just randomly stumbled across this page, it's for a reason. And I just think it's really nice to kind of understand people's backstory and how they've ended up where they are. So would love you guys to go and check that one out. So that's episode 1. Then on to my first guest, which was such a special episode for me. It was actually a 2-parter, and it was my amazing friend and also one of my clients as well, Ellen Bishy. And she is just one of the most magnificent, beautiful, magical, kind, loving, incredible souls that walks this earth. Her story was just, and is, next level. And the title of her episode, which probably says enough, was Surviving Childhood Cancer, Ellen Bishy's story of resilience and creating change. And honestly, like, the stuff that this woman has been through in her life, like, I think I've been through some shit. She has been through the works, and she still comes out, you know, confident, strong, motivated. And she's honestly one of the most incredible people that you will ever meet if you get the pleasure to do so. And those of you who watch my vlogs as well, you might have seen that I did an event earlier this year called Monday at the Musicals. Ellen is actually the founder of that event. And it's a fundraising event which we've been putting on. So I'm actually a co-producer. It's Ellen, a beautiful girl called Laura, and myself. We're all the producers of the show. And it's a fundraiser to raise money for Children with Cancer UK, and also another charity called Trek Stock, both which are charities which have massively helped Ellen over the years. Children with Cancer literally saved her life due to a new treatment which they created just in time for her, basically. And Trek Stock deal with children with late effects of cancer. So over the years, Ellen has been, you know, in touch with them, and really just both of those charities have meant so much to her. So that's also a great vlog for you guys to go and check out as well, because then you can really understand a bit more about her in terms of all of that as well. But that was a really special first episode for me, because I haven't actually known Ellen for that long. I was about to say I go way back, but actually me and Ellen have only known each other for about, I think it's maybe 6 years. It's not even that long. And we stumbled across each other through a friend just before lockdown. And I started coaching her. So we started doing personal training, and then we also started doing mindset coaching. And just ever since, you know, she's been a client of mine for various different things and different programs that I've done. And she's become one of my best friends. And yes, for that reason, it was just a really special episode. And then after that, I had the guys from Cryo Hub. So John and Kaylin, Cryo Hub, which is a cryotherapy business here in Bedford. And this episode was actually also one of my, I'm going to say this about every episode, this is one of my favorite episodes. But I did really love this episode because the boys who came on, John and Kaylin, their energy is really something quite special. And we just laugh a lot. Like whenever I'm in their company, we laugh a lot. And what I love about them is that they're quite, you know, yes, they're quite fun and like funny and all of that, but both of them have some serious like entrepreneurial minds within them, and so much to them in terms of business and success and just overall personality. Like they have a lot about them, and I really enjoyed recording that episode. And the behind the scenes for that episode was actually really funny. I think that's on my Instagram somewhere. I'm not sure, but I really enjoyed that. And all of these episodes, by the way, so episode 1 to 5, I recorded myself. So you would have, I don't actually know. I'm sure I recorded an episode not that long ago. I can't even remember, guys. My life is so busy at the minute. But I think I recorded an episode not that long ago. And I told you about the journey of my podcast. And episode 1 to 5, I recorded myself. So if you go back through, I apologize for like the lack of professionalism. But I also don't apologize, because that's what makes this authentic. That's what makes this a lesson. That's what makes this me. And it was really, really important to me to just learn the ropes along the way. And that's definitely what I did. So the fact I even managed to do what I did, yes, it wasn't necessarily the best quality. Yes, the sound was shit. Yes, it would have been better if I had a professional doing it. But for me, this is all part of the journey. And one of the biggest messages that I always want to get across to people, to my clients, to people that I love, to anyone who's listening or watching, is never wait until it's perfect to start, because it's never going to be perfect and you're never going to feel ready. I'm sure many of you have heard that quote a lot. You're never going to be ready. You always just start, it's never going to be the right time. And it's so true. Like, you have to just start and you'll just figure it out along the way. And my podcast journey is a really, really great example of that. And I'm just scrolling through, like, I'm not going to talk about every single episode, otherwise we're going to be here for 5 million years. But some of the people that I've had on, like, when I came up with this idea for the podcast, obviously the title, Real Talk with Nat, within the title, obviously you guess that it's going to be, your real life conversations, real experiences, real honest truth. And I mentioned this in my first episode of when I started the podcast, but I really didn't want this to be just another podcast where I interview, people that you guys probably have heard on other podcasts numerous times and have heard their stories numerous times, and, celebrities and reality stars and influencers, and all people who, like I said before when I was talking about this, all people who have insane journeys and incredible journeys and are so inspirational. But what about the people who haven't already got a platform? What about the people who are just your normal day-to-day average Joes, who have been through more than you would probably ever imagine, and a lot of the time more than what these influencers and celebrities are talking about? And these normal people don't get that opportunity, and they don't have a platform to share their story. And I was like, I want to make this such a thing that the people that I get on this podcast are those people. I don't want to be another podcast which is the same as so many of the others. I want this to just be just normal, like real, real talk with Nat. That's what this has to be about. And that was exactly the aim of when I created it. And when I'm looking through, the people that I've had on here, the majority of them are people that I know. They're my friends. I've had my family members on here. I've had a few people who I have never met before so far, which has been incredible. I had a really gorgeous lady called Amalia Bali, who was on what episode was she? I think she was series 2. Hold on, let's have a little scroll down my YouTube page. Where was she? Guys, had so many things on here. Here we are, episode 24. Yeah, so that was series 2. And she was actually a lady who reached out to me on Instagram, just totally out of the blue, and was like, I've seen your platform, I've seen your podcast, I would love to share my story. And she's all about motherhood. She's a coach, and her story, just from what she'd shared, I had a little bit of a chat with her beforehand about, obviously what she does and what she kind of wants to talk about, and just a bit about her and the story that she's been through and what she shared on that podcast. Like, it just feels so good to have people start reaching out to me and say, I would love to share my story on your platform. Like, that for me shows me that what I'm trying to do is happening. Like, I'm nowhere near where I want to be in terms of the reach that this podcast is getting. We are still such early days, but things take time. And the fact that I'm having people now reach out to me wanting to share their story on the platform is literally like, it makes me so happy and grateful. Like, honestly, when she sent me that message, that was actually the first person that reached out who I didn't know. And that was a really, really special moment for me. So I'll always treasure that episode. So Amalia, if you're listening, thank you. I have obviously said this to you in person, but it was a really, really, really special episode for me for that reason. And yeah, there's just so many incredible people that I've had on here. I've interviewed my cousin, I've interviewed my brother. Interviewing my brother Nadeem, that was a really, really special one for me as well. That was just before Amalia, I think. I'm just telling you this, guys, so that you can go back and check out what the episodes were, because if you haven't watched or listened, so Nadeem's was episode 2022, definitely not 2022, and we're not in the year 2022. Episode 22. Series 2. And that was really special because we covered so many things. Like me and my brother, I've got 2 brothers, I've got 2 older brothers, and we are all super close. So nothing really is like unknown for us. Like, it wasn't an episode where I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to dig into this bit of information that I've never heard before. Like, we're super close as a family, specifically me and my brothers. And I kind of think I know most things about both of them. I'm sure there'll be a few things that I don't, just like there's probably a few things about me that they don't know, but generally speaking, we know a lot about each other. So it wasn't an episode like that where I was excited to like get to know more about him, but it was more exciting for me because it was an opportunity for him to really share and just inspire with regards to all of the stuff that he has been through. Like, his journey in acting, he's currently on touring with Phantom of the Opera, playing the Phantom. Like, casual, right? Like, he's insanely talented. He's run, I think, like 4 or 5 marathons, possibly more. I don't even know. Like, he's an incredible runner. He's an incredible actor. You know, he's really intelligent, but he's also been through some of the darkest days that I've ever known. And talking about mental health and, you know, becoming a dad to his 2 daughters and things which I know about, but like was so excited to hear more about like his version of the events and how he feels about things. It was just a really nice way to kind of bond, I guess. And my parents were so funny. After they listened to it, they were like, wow. They were like, you're so professional, you two. We were cracking up because we were literally just having a good old chinwag. But it was really sweet for my parents to kind of watch and, you know, see something like that with both of their kids for the first time. So that was really, really special. And my cousin Eden as well. She was one of my first guests. She was in series 1. She's also a musician. I've got a very creative family, actually. But that was a really cool episode as well. She was my first official family member to be on the podcast. And I've also had some really incredible episodes with regards to the studio where I work. So Studio 281. So I actually manage one of our studios. I manage our Milton Keynes branch, which is one of our Reformer Pilates studios. And I think I've had Georgia on. I've had her on 3 times, actually. So Georgia's the founder of Studio 281, and I've had her on 3 times, but you've only actually seen her twice. So watch this space. There's one more episode coming very soon, which actually, just thinking if this episode that I'm recording now, no, this will be out before, but watch this space, basically. There's something exciting coming with regards to the studio. But I had the opportunity to interview Georgia again at the start of this year. I think it was January. I think she was one of the first. She might have actually been the first for series 2. And that was a really special one for me because we spoke about a lot of things that, obviously business related stuff, which I always love to talk about. I love sitting down and getting stuck in with fellow entrepreneurs and talking about, you know, the real highs and lows, because all my entrepreneurs out there, we know that is an absolute roller coaster of a world. And we have our highs and we have our lows, and it's so important to have that community of like-minded people, which, especially when you're a business owner, it can feel kind of lonely. So that was a really, really special one. So for that reason, but also because we uncovered quite a lot of stuff which she had never spoken about. You know, she'd been on and is still going through this huge journey of personal development and transformation. And she's been through some pretty tough shit over the years, and she'd never really spoken about it publicly. And it was her opportunity to kind of speak her truth. And that was really lovely for me as her friend, but also as, like, you know, business partner to a degree as well. It was really nice for me to kind of be there, to be that platform for her to do that. And then I had her and Ilona on to talk about our High Rocks journey. So Ilona manages our Bedford studio, and those two are like High Rocks queens. If anyone doesn't know what High Rocks is, it's a fitness race, which over the last year has just become, like, everyone's like obsessed with it. Although I do feel like it's not as, I think it's kind of had its peak. I could be wrong, but I feel like it's had its peak. Anyway, they inspired me to do it. So rewind back to May 2025, this year, I did my first High Rocks, which I've also vlogged about. So you can find that on my YouTube channel as well. I think it was my May vlog. I did a vlog all about May, and High Rocks was on there. But they massively inspired me to do that. So it was really nice to get them on the podcast after High Rocks, where I competed for the first time, and they had competed, I think it was their fourth race. And it was really nice to kind of go back and forth in terms of, like, a High Rocks beginner, myself, and people who were, like, well in the game, and just talk about, like, the differences and, you know, how we think about things and our experiences and what we recommend to people and all of that. It was just a really nice way to kind of debrief after the experience, which, by the way, for me was a life-changing experience. Probably one of the most uncomfortable experiences I've ever gone through, mentally and physically. I think actually, like I said before, I've been through some shit in my life. I mean, I've almost died. I was in a coma for 2 weeks. Which I was going to say 2 weeks ago. Totally wasn't 2 weeks ago. I was in a coma for 2 weeks about 12 years ago, because I was really unwell. And High Rocks, like, I'm not even joking, the way that I had to speak to myself to get through it towards the end, I think trumps me recovering from how sick I was all those years ago. And I'm not even joking. That's me being extremely dramatic. I'm so aware, but it was fucking hard. And it was really nice to just debrief with them about those experiences and those, like, emotions and the feelings that I don't think people really talk about. I think when it comes to, like, fitness and challenging yourself and, you know, putting yourself through these things, often we think about the physical side of things, which, yes, is super, super important. But the mental side of things, it's your mind that is actually going to either get you through or not get you through it. And that is so, so, so important. And that was a key message that I wanted listeners to kind of take away for anyone who was thinking about competing in High Rocks, or not even High Rocks, like any kind of thing, any kind of fitness event or physical endurance thing that you want to put yourself through. You've got to really make sure your mindset is there, because if it's not, it's going to be a real struggle. Anyway, I'm not going to sit here and talk through every single episode, because, like I said, I'm going to be here for hours, but I'm just super, super grateful for everyone who has come on the podcast, everyone who has shared their story, everyone who has reached out and asked to come on the podcast as well. I've got so many more people lined up. I've got so many recordings in the diary, literally as we speak. And I can't wait to see what the rest of Series 3 and Series 4 and beyond bring. This really, really is just the beginning of Real Talk with Nat. Like I said, like, I'm so grateful for, you know, everything that's been so far, but I just know that, like, there's just so much more to come. And it actually excites me so, so, so much. This podcast is genuinely, when you hear the term passion project, that is literally what this is for me. You know, this isn't something which I started to make loads of money. This wasn't something which I started to think about how I can, you know, earn a flexible living and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, that would be beautiful if we get to that point. We're not near that yet. Like, the podcast is growing drastically, which again, I can't quite believe. I'm not actually sure how many subscribers we're on at the minute. I think we're on 6.54. Let me just have a look. Yeah, 6.54 thousand subscribers, 6,500 subscribers, which is insane in a year. And YouTube is hard. YouTube is really hard. So I'm so happy with that, and I'm so proud of that. And yeah, I just know that there's so much more that we are going to do. I want to give a massive shout out to Carl, who is my producer, who, you know, he reached out to me after watching my non-professional videos and was like, I would like to help you. I spoke about this in a previous episode, so not going to say too much, but massive shout out to Carl, because genuinely this wouldn't be possible without him and without what he's doing. He's got his own studio. I go and record in his studio. He does obviously all the producing, the editing. He helps me upload things. Yeah, he's just a lifesaver basically when it comes to the podcast, and it just makes this whole experience so much easier for me and so much more enjoyable. So thank you, Carl. Grateful for you, and really excited to see what we can create together over the coming days, weeks, months, years, and beyond, because I know that there's a lot. And it's actually been really nice to watch Carl's journey grow, because I was his first client when it came to podcasts and recordings and stuff. And that felt really like, it feels really special. I was going to say felt, but it feels really special for both of us to be on this journey together. Because yeah, when he jumped on with me, that got him, you know, a little bit more comfortable with what he was doing. And he's now got numerous clients who he works with. And that's really amazing and beautiful to see. So that makes that really special. So I don't really know what else to say, guys. I thought I would literally just jump on and have a bit of a chit chat and do a bit of reflection. And that's what we've done. I have no idea how long this podcast episode is. I don't think it's very long, but that's fine. Doesn't have to be long all the time. I give you lots of good story times with all my guests. So this can be a short one. But I just want to say thank you to everyone, genuinely, from the bottom of my heart. So grateful for all of you who listen, who watch, who have subscribed, who comment, who share, who follow me on Instagram, TikTok, all those things. Like, every little helps, genuinely. And I know, like, you hear this a lot in business when it comes to entrepreneurship. Like, you know, so many people are happy to support celebrities and people that they don't know and share this and share that and be an affiliate of this brand and that brand and whatever. But not everyone supports their friends, and not everyone, you know, takes the time to go out of their way to support the people who kind of need it the most. Obviously everyone has to start somewhere, but you know, I just wanted to make a point of just saying I am genuinely so grateful, because every like, every subscription, all of it makes a huge difference. And this passion project, which I started a year ago, is really turning into something even more special and more amazing than I could ever have imagined. I was absolutely winging it. Like I said at the start of this episode, I had no strategy for this podcast. I had no plan. I literally take it episode by episode, week by week. You know, we talk about what we talk about, and then I'm inspired for the next and for the next and for the next. And I just, it's actually really beautiful to have that kind of trust within myself and just know that that's the right thing to be doing. And not overthinking things and not worrying too much about, you know, what's coming next, and just going with the flow. Because yeah, that's what it's all about. So thank you so much, guys. I hope you have enjoyed series 1, 2, and 3 so far. We're about halfway through series 3 now, maybe just about, I think. Loads more episodes for you to come. And also watch this space, because I've just signed a partnership deal for a really special sponsor who I can't actually talk about just yet, because like, it's official, but it's not officially official yet, if that makes sense. But yeah, you'll know about that really, really soon. And that's not just exciting because it's the podcast. It's exciting for what that thing is as well, because the sponsor is a brand new concept which is about to launch as well. So fucking excited about that. So thank you so much, guys, and I will see you guys soon. Lots of love.